All right, so thank you everyone for joining us today. So today on the call from NIGP, you have myself, Lauren Anderson. I am the Events and Programs Manager, and we have Todd Slater, who is our Chief Executive of Content. I think I got that right. And then Chanda, who is our Content Director as well. All right, so as a reminder for our just in general, forum will be in person in Boston on August 21st to the 24th, and then we'll have a forum virtual taking place at the same time, and this will be August 22nd to the 24th. But both audiences will have access to the content during and about 90 days after forum as well. So we will have three speaker types and kind of what that interaction looks like. I know some of you probably watched our previous training video, so I'll give just a quick high level review of these. So we have our in-person only presentations. These will only be given in Boston. These will not be live streamed or part of our virtual content live stream. Exactly what it says, they will be live streamed out to our virtual audience, and the virtual audience will have an opportunity to ask their questions live during that presentation. And then we have our final, which is everyone here on this call, which is our pre-recorded presentation and an in-person presentation. This means is that coming up in July, you will record with our producers from CNTV your presentation, and then you will give an in-person presentation. The virtual audience will be able to watch your pre-recorded presentation at a given time, and then you will also kind of interact with them virtually during that time. So it's kind of a three-part presentation, but we'll go ahead and get further into this presentation today. So when you're preparing your slide deck, and this is, just in general for both in-person and your virtual presentation one, just make sure that you do keep it simple. Each slide should just have the main points. That purpose should be easily distinguished by the audience, and then any kind of clutter or details kind of takes away from that attention on those slides. Again, when you're looking at your colors or images, try to use them effectively. You don't want something too bright, like a yellow font on a white background. The audience won't be able to read that, and it'll take away from what you are talking about as well. You'll want to create purposeful titles. They should be very relevant to what we are talking about and what the audience can expect to get from that slide. The next, just choose your safe fonts. Make sure that they're all matching and it doesn't overwhelm the presenter as well. You'll want to choose you can choose like a safer font, like a like Times New Roman or Calibri, which is what we see day to day. You'll also want to look to tell a story. This kind of just helps relate to the audience. It gives a bit of credence to your presentation as well. You're going to walk them through beginning, middle, and end to ensure that they do have a nice takeaway point. Transitions. You can always use transitions and animations. Our recommendation is to use them sparingly. Again, these are meant to make an impact on your presentation and your point. So you don't want to overdo on your animations and your transitions. It should be to emphasize a point. Which brings us to emphasizing your key point. You want to make sure that your final point is kind of the meat of your program as well. And again, you can interact with the audience. I know that since these are pre-recorded, it may be a little bit more difficult, but you could, in a slide during your presentation, your pre-recording, let the audience know that they can respond to a question or something in the chat. And since you will be participating in the virtual chat, you can then interact with them at that time. Richard, I do see that your hand is up. We will do questions at the end if you don't mind. And then preparing for your presentation recording. So when you are getting ready to sit down for your presentation, you'll want to just make sure that you have a simple background. You can blur it, or you can create another background as well. But that background does help tell the story of your presentation. And then it also does, it can distract. So you want to make sure you don't have clutter in the back, or trash, or something along those lines. When you are sitting down, you'll want to make sure that you don't have light coming from behind you. This will create a white space, and the audience will have a hard time seeing you as well on that presentation. If at possible, you'll want to try and have the natural light in front of you, or some sort of other lighting, like a ring light. They're very inexpensive. You can get a $10 one on Amazon. So you can be lit up basically during your presentation. The audience can see you. With that, you'll also want to check your sound. Sometimes Bluetooth headphones disconnect in the middle of a presentation, and so you have a bit of a different sound quality on that. So you'll want to just make sure you test that out. The CNTV producer will be online with you, and they'll actually be able to help test out the quality, the sound quality, as well as the video quality with you while you are doing the recording. The next is just to use high quality connection. If you are in a house, or you're in an office, you'll want to just make sure that you have maybe a backup to a hard line for your presentation, just in case. Wi-Fi can be spotty, and it always happens right at like the most inconvenient moments. So if you can, try and have a hardwire, or if you're in a house, you have multiple people giving or using the Wi-Fi, you can just ask them for an hour to refrain from streaming or video calls or something along those lines. I know that that's sometimes hard, but I would say if at all possible, we would recommend that. Again, eliminating distractions. If you're in an office, closing a door, finding a quiet office space would be best for that. If you're in a house, just asking any members of the house to keep noise levels down. And if it does happen, it does. I think we all know that it can happen, and we've been living in a virtual environment for 2 years, so we all know it does. Sometimes if you do have a distraction, it's better to just quickly explain it so the audience isn't fully distracted by it, and they're left wondering, and then their mind wanders that way. Another item is to recognize your frame of your camera. If you know that you're going too far or too back, that the audience will see that, and that'll also be there. And then just being aware of your body language. If you're just sitting with your arms crossed, same as if you were in person, the audience can also read that as well. Right. And now, once you have made it to Boston, our recommendation is to stay in communication with NIGP for any changes and updates to your panel or schedule, coordinate with your co-presenters, and also rehearse the presentation as well. You'll want to arrive 10 to 15 minutes prior to the start of your session. For these, there will be a QCT member from the NIGP volunteers, and they just kind of help just with quality control, and you can just kind of identify them, speak with them. But with that being said, you can also interact with your audience at that point and start making those connections and start talking with them and start that connection with your audience. And then during your presentation, you'll want to make sure that you interact with your audience. Sometimes Q&A doesn't always have to be at the end. Sometimes it can be in the middle to create that conversation as well. And then when you are preparing for your recording release, so what you'll do is you'll want to check the virtual schedule to see when your release date is of your pre-recorded presentation. You can find a quiet area to log on to the platform and then log into the chat, which I have a demonstration I can show you here shortly of our 2021 virtual platform, but it is the same navigation, everything will be the same. The 2022 platform just isn't quite ready for release, but it'll look the exact same. But you can find a quiet space somewhere in the convention center. We will have a kind of speaker room area set up. It'll be in boardroom 201, and it's near the area, but it's a closed off space, and you have some chairs. We do ask that you are only in there just for your pre-recorded virtual chat time. Go ahead and make yourself comfortable. You can jump onto the internet there, and then just you can enter the chat. You can start introducing yourself, starting conversations with the virtual audience, things along those lines. So let me stop sharing the presentation real quick. All right, so once you log on, you will come to our lobby, which will look almost exactly the same as this. You'll click on sessions. You can click on it here, or you can click on it up at the top as well. So we'll click on to sessions, and you can see the full program listed. And this is all by days. It goes in order that way. You can also look through the days as well, if that's easier for you to navigate that. So what we can do is jump onto the, we'll do the entity and we'll jump on this. The video screenshot will be right here for everyone. And then you can begin typing into the virtual chat on this right-hand side. And you'll see your name, things like that, and you'll be able to see everyone else. You won't be able to see how many people are actually watching, only people who have chatted. This is just for privacy reasons. Some people just like to, just as they like to sit in the back of a room sometimes and watch a presentation. So, but you'll be able to interact this way. You can post questions. You can do an icebreaker, asking people where they're from, what their favorite session has been, things along those lines. All right. And then just kind of what NIGP is hoping for presentation success and expectations. If you do feel comfortable, feel free to walk away from the podium and kind of connect with that audience. You can walk around on stage and create your own presence there within that room. Spark conversations, just kind of to and from the audience. This can start in those 10 to 15 minutes prior to your presentation, or just throughout your presentation. You can create kind of just some questions to get that going. And then also just inspiring connections amongst the audience when asking everyone where they're from. You can kind of ask what entity or something along those lines as well. So that concludes my part of the presentation. And I will now take questions, which I do see we have 2 in the chat. Sorry, Rebecca, those were yours. I apologize. Richard, I know you had a question.
Yes, I actually have 3 questions. Based on that first slide, is there a presentation template we're supposed to be using?
Yes, so if you see the presenter resource page, which is now actually public on our site, I can pull that up so you know where to navigate to.
All right, I think there's a link in one of the emails that I have, so I'll look there.
Okay.
The other question I have is there's going to be 2 presenters for my virtual session. Is it better for us to be sitting side by side for that discussion, or should we be separate?
That's a great question, Richard. I would recommend being separate, and that's so when our producers are doing the recording, they're actually going to have it's a special background that they're going to put you on. And so, and your picture will be up in the right-hand corner of the recording. Just for the audience to know exactly who is speaking, I think it would be better to have it separate because it will be a tiny box.
Okay. And the last question I had is where you showed us where you go in for the virtual presentation for us to be present during that being shown.
Mhm.
Do we need to be registered to get to that, or as presenters, do we have access to that?
No, so we do require all of our presenters to register for the meeting. If you don't intend to go to any other sessions and you're only there to speak, we can do a speaker badge. But we would just know it only gets you into the session. It does not get you to any other content.
Okay, and is there a special speaker only registration, or I mean, how do we do that?
So it's a speaker badge. I have to look up the cost, the final cost of what it would be, but I can send you that information.
Okay. I think that's all I have for the.
Okay. Richard, also on the presenter page, you'll see the presenter deck right here. If you click the download, it'll download the deck.
Okay, great, thanks.
Do we have any other questions for the pre-record, in-person part, virtual chat, forum in general? No?
I do
Rebecca?
have one. Sorry, I'm just now thinking this through. So I know our PowerPoint presentations are due like July 29th.
Mhm.
Do you have a, obviously when we're talking and presenting, we're going to have those in front of us. I don't see those changing much. Do you need those prior to our recording?
No.
Okay.
No.
Thank you.
You are welcome to, if you did want to just have a quick set of eyes on it, our publications manager is offering a proofreading service, and you can upload those and she'll take a look at them. She'll get them back to you, I think by July 22nd, but if you need them sooner, I'm not sure when your recording is set up. But if you do need them sooner, she can probably send those over. It's just a high level, more of a spell check type of service than a content review service.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, well, we can go ahead and wrap up early. So just as a reminder too, I did forget to put this on the slides. I do apologize for this. Please make sure that you do bring a laptop to your in-person presentation. We do not provide laptops, so you will need to bring that. And if you have not signed up for a pre-recorded session with CNTV, please do so as soon as possible. We do need all of those kind of scheduled and signed up for by the end of June. So if you have not done that, please feel free. And if you don't have the link for that, you're more than welcome to email me and I can send that back over to you. Great. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Very helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good
Bye.
day.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.